Hello there, my name is Kieran Lee, and this is my presentation on comparing practitioners. Today I will be comparing Stanislavski and Brecht, two well-known practitioners in the world of theatre. Let's get started. First, I will be talking a little bit about Konstantin Stanislavski. Stanislavski was born in 1863 in Russia, or more specifically Moscow. He then passed away at the age of 75 in Moscow. In 1888, Stanislavski founded the Society of Art and Literature, with which he performed and directed productions for almost a decade, and in June of 1897, he and a fellow playwright, Vladimir Nemedovich Danchenko, decided to open the Moscow Art Theatre. During the early days of the Moscow Art Theatre, Stanislavski worked on creating a guide structure for the actors to constantly achieve deep and meaningful performances. Stanislavski believed that the actors needed to show authentic emotion whilst on stage, and to do so they needed to draw upon their own feelings. The actors needed some relatability to their character, as without that experience, or a similar experience, the actor can never truly gain the emotions that their characters are feeling, or it would be hard to do so. Stanislavski also developed exercises that had encouraged actors to explore their characters' emotions. This included exercises such as the magic if. This exercise made the actors use their imagination to act out certain things, such as walking around the space as if walking through water, or walking around the space as if to be walking with a sprained ankle. This let the actors put themselves into a different mindset and act out what they think it would be like. This could also help the actors if they don't have some experience as their character has been through. This group of techniques could have become known as the method. Stanislavski practiced naturalism for most, if not all, of his plays. Stan preferred to make all of his plays as real as possible. This means he used a lot of props and a lot of parts for stage. The way that Stan created naturalism is by following a set rules called the system. Some of the main points or rules of the system are things like concentration, objectives, and super objectives, given circumstances, emotional memory, and many others. By using naturalism, the fourth wall was never broken, as by breaking the fourth wall, the actors destroy every ounce of realism they had, because they are now letting the audience know that it is only a play and not a story that was meant to be as real as possible. Stanislavski had produced some plays in his time. In 1891, he produced a play called The Fruits of Enlightenment by Leo Tolstoy, and a play named Foma by Fyodor Dostoevsky. In 1894, he had produced a play by the name of The Governor by Viktor Dyachenko, and a play named Light Without Heat by Alexander Ostrovsky. Now I could go on and list every play Stan has ever produced, but then we'd be here all day. Stan has produced a lot of plays in his time. Luckily, it wasn't just producing, he has also acted in some of them, which let off some of the boredom, to say the least. Now let's move on to Brecht, or should I say Bertolt Brecht. He was a man born in Augsburg in Germany on the 10th of February 1898. He then sadly passed away at the age of 58 on the 14th of August 1956. He was a poet and a playwright and was the creator of a well-known term, epic theatre. Epic theatre tried to portray the message that their society was awful and that theatre should be used to make fun of it and question it. The reason that Brecht called it epic theatre is because he wanted the audience to see the bigger picture when it comes to his plays. Brecht tried to convey to the audience that it was just a play. At the start of World War II, Brecht fled from Germany because the idea of war didn't quite fit with Brecht after he served as a medical orderly in World War I. He became a resident of the United States of America, which is where he decided to stay until the Second World War came to an end, which would cause him to eventually move back to Germany. Now, as I've said, Brecht wanted to beat it into the audience's head that the play wasn't real. He felt that if the audience got too emotionally invested in the characters, that they would miss the overall point of the message trying to be conveyed. He made sure that the audience wasn't too invested in the characters, with certain, yet simple steps, such as breaking the fourth wall, which includes interacting with the audience, or making your character announce to the audience that they are in a play, one way or another. Using minimal set, meaning he only used set where necessary, but he didn't use that much because in his eyes there wasn't much point. Narrators, to again allow the audience to follow the plot a bit easier and give a third-person perspective for the audience's view. Gestus, which means to clarify message trying to be conveyed. Verwundungseffekt, which is a German word, which translates roughly to mean the alienation effect, which means to make simple things like pens or chairs strange, or more complicated than it really is. Exaggeration, and juxtaposition, which is basically putting two subjects together and comparing them. During Brecht's time in life, he often wrote plays. In 1928, he had written The Threepenny Opera. In 1938, Brecht had also written a play named Life of Galileo and The Good Person of Szechwan. However, he did not finish this play until 1941. Now, again, Brecht has written many plays, so I think it's best to stop here rather than going through another day or so just naming these magnificent plays. Both Stanislavski and Brecht are very famous, and both have a lot of influence in modern society and theatre. It is thanks to these two practitioners that we have so many stage plays, movies, and films with amazing or funny acting. Without these two, theatre nowadays would be a lot different, as these two are possibly the most important people when it comes to theatre and drama. They have both given us many techniques and exercises that help us as actors to become the character that we are meant to be, whether we have the experience or not. Anyways, thank you for listening to my presentation on comparing practitioners.